So during COVID, I gave up those licenses. Um, I started real estate as a solo agent in 1999 with Coldwell Banker, stayed there till 2010, went to Keller Williams, built a big team, well, big for us anyway. I had an executive assistant, two assistants, marketing, one that focused on marketing, another one that was all paperwork and transaction processing, two buyer's agents, and I think a showing assistant. And that's really Keller Williams' model, is to build this team, seventh level, get out of production and, have passive income. Didn't quite work that way. So in 2017, I came over to EXP. My only goal when coming to EXP in terms of numbers was to icon every year. Because I knew if I iconed, I would have enough income and, streams of revenue and stuff like that. That was really important to me. So I'm not big on, oh, I did 160 transactions last year, because I don't care. As long as I get icon, then I know my goals have been reached for the year. So coming here because of our model and what EXP has to offer, I actually dissolved my team, and it's just me and my one assistant now. So it's great. I love it here. I think it's the best company, and I get solicited all the time, and I tell everyone I'm never leaving. So welcome for those of you that new. There's so much here to the EXP has to offer besides these panels. You can reach out to anybody privately through workplace, and ask for help if you're struggling. We have so many classes in the world. We've got so many groups on workplace that you can just join and throw us out something. I need, whatever you need, a copy of a listing presentation. There's a listing presentation group, those kind of things. So there's a lot to learn here, and we have a lot of opportunities to do so. Rebecca, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your business and where you are and all that?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks everybody for being here. And my husband and I, Sid Smith, have Kind Homes Group, and we operate in Oregon and Washington. I've been in real estate for 7 years. My family's been in real estate for 3 generations, and I finally decided to jump on board. We've been at EXP for 2.5 years. I have to think about that. And before that, we were at KW, and it's always just either been myself or my husband and I and ATC. What else would y'all like to know?
What did you just say? Your ATC?
No, no, a TC.
Oh, I was like, wait, is that a new thing I don't know about? Let's talk about that.
Yep,
Okay, I
it's
get it.
a new
For
thing.
those that don't know, it's a transaction coordinator. All right, Jerry Ann, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I am coming to you from East Tennessee. I am a full-time realtor. I'm licensed in Tennessee and Virginia, and I've been in real estate since 2018. I was with a boutique brokerage that was very good to me. It was a great place to start, but I began to realize quickly that my vision for the rest of my life was more than what I was going to find there at that small boutique brokerage. I began to be recruited by some different companies because I had reached a high production level for this area. And upon speaking to them, I just started seeing that there was a better way to do things. Quickly, got connected with some people from EXP. I attended the Build conference last fall and had plans on becoming had plans to become an EXP agent at that time. But once I went to the Build conference, it was on, and I immediately transferred my license, and it has been the best decision. And I have done nothing but grow and be able to see things in a different light. I tell people EXP is real estate on steroids. So that's my story.
What's in East Tennessee, like a big city?
Yes, East Tennessee. I serve Kingsport, Bristol, Johnson City. If you've heard of the Great Smoky Mountains, I'm about 45 minutes away from that. I am about 5 minutes away from the Virginia border. I'm also licensed in Virginia, and the Bristol Motor Speedway is a big theme here. I'm about an hour from the University of Tennessee, but we are literally tucked up right in the northeast corner of Tennessee, and we love it. We love the Appalachian area. I've learned to embrace it, and you can. The big thing I get in EXP world is, oh, your accent. And for a long time, I thought to myself, I tried to be different, and then I just began to embrace it and love how I sound and accept that that's just who God made me to be, and just roll with it. So that's East Tennessee.
That's awesome. Michelle, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about everything going on with you?
Hi, my name is Vishal Saxena, and I'm from Ontario, Canada. I'm from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, which is about 87 kilometers west of Toronto. It's a big market, and you can say it's a Silicon Valley of Canada. Like all major IT companies, it's a hub of IT in Canada. I started real estate. If I say I started real estate in 2005, when I started investing in real estate. In 2008, when there was a, you can say, kind of meltdown everywhere, everybody was selling. I was investing in real estate. I was buying one home every year. I took my license in 2019, and I started with a local real estate brokerage, Team Home Reality. Did close to 156 transactions with them for first 2.5 years. And in last March 2022, I joined EXP. I like attended the build session, and as just mentioned by Garian, that was boom, clicked. And then I joined EXP in March 2022, and since then I have won 2 times Icon Agent. I won Icon Agent last year, and I won Icon Agent this year. Same like you, Brenda. My aim was to have Icon Agent every year, but there was an additional thing which pinched me, and which I wanted was revenue share. Like my goal is to have a revenue share up to that level that after 10 years I can think of retiring. So that's my retirement plan. So far it's good, and I brought 22 agents to EXP since the last March 2022, and I am continuing working on growing my team in EXP.
That's amazing. So Darren has joined us. Darren, all you missed is we just went around and introduced ourselves, kind of talked about where we were geographically, as well as what our business looks like. So why don't you
Awesome.
introduce yourself and take over from here?
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much, Brenda. I appreciate you doing that. So I'm Darren Mancuso. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I've been in real estate since 2014. I actually got in the business as an investor, and I was flipping properties casually a couple of years as like a side hustle. And I had a business partner from Remax, and then around 2012, he said he didn't want to do it anymore. So I got my real estate license also as a side hustle, and then ended up buying and selling about 100 properties between 2012 and 2019, and started to build a team. So we went from 0 to 6 agents. And then last year we joined EXP, and we now have 14 agents here in Cleveland and 24 agents in our organization. So massive growth, massive expansion since we've been here at EXP, and we're super excited about it. So all
Darren,
right. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. I had everyone introduce in the audience tell us how long they were with EXP and real estate. So
oh,
there seems
beautiful.
to be a lot of people that are newer. If you want to just read those comments really quick, and maybe you want to tailor some questions towards that audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So being that you guys are a little bit newer to real estate, I would say the question that I have for the panel here to just kind of get things started is, how did you overcome some of the fears that you needed to make in order to grow your business? You know, whether that was adding your first assistant or adding a transaction coordinator, or you know, whatever those moves were, and how were you able to make steps and break through the fear? Because I know that every time my business has grown, I've expanded, I've gotten to a new level. It wasn't because I was comfortable. It was because I wanted it bad enough to be, you know, to make that move. So Brenda, why don't you start us off and give us a little bit of an idea of how, when you first started expanding your business, how you handled that?
So when I started real estate, it was accidental. I fell into it because I was tired of driving an hour each way to work. So I was
Wow.
just out of college. I was 24, 25. And I saw and well, all right, for young people, we had these things called newspapers, and they were local for your specific area. And I saw an ad that said, want to be a real estate? We have classes. And I was like, oh, I guess I could do that. So for me, within literally 2 days of getting licensed, my broker was like, "Hey, Tom Ferry's in town. We have extra tickets. Go see him." And I actually walked out at the first break around 11 a.m. So cold calling was not for me. And I think that's the beauty of real estate is you can tailor it to your personality, the way you want to do business. You are an early bird, you get up and you have a schedule where you start cold calling from 8 to 6 or 8 to 10 or whatever it is you want to do. For me, that wasn't it. So I ended up starting by farming, geographic farming. I started with one neighborhood and it's grown to 10,000 people, but it really is a way to get around my aversion to cold calling expireds, for sale by owners, random people who might be leads, and really starting off relationships, so that I have a repeat and referral business. I don't have to chase. I mean, an internet lead can take 6 to 8 months to turn. And just because they click on one thing that you have, they click on 100 of other things. So a lot of it is, how do you want to work? Do you have more capital to spend on maybe targeted Facebook ads? Really, do you love Instagram or TikTok, and maybe you expand that sphere? So I think we've got a lot of ways to, if you're fearful of one avenue or don't like it, to go another way. And then it kind of
Sure.
organically happens.
Right. You said a lot of good things. I latched on to two specific things that you said though. The first one was Tom Ferry, and that's coaching. And I know that a lot of us have thought about taking coaching, and you look at it and you go, wow, that's really expensive. And, I can't afford that. And so there's a fear there associated with jumping into coaching, that if you spend the money that you're not going to get your investment back. um we can, and then this, I'll just summarize. The second thing was when you said you started by farming, so you kind of avoided the uncomfortable by just doing something that was more natural. But farming is also, in a roundabout way, people could look at that as, oh, that's expensive as well. I may have to send out postcards for 6 months, 12, for a long period of time until I see a return. How did you convince yourself, or how did you get through that uncomfortable feeling of either hiring a coach or spending the money on farming? Or that's the uncomfortable part, for I think, for a lot of new agents.
Yeah, so I believe in education. So when I was getting my license, I'm still friends with my instructor 22 years later. He
Mm-hmm.
said he really pushed the GRI designation from realtor, the what NAR.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out, and typically for us, the local board, they would have one GRI class a month. So it took a year to get it. And I went to every city in Virginia that was having it. So I got my GRI in like 4 months, and I didn't want other agents to go, "Oh, she's new," and treat me
Mm-hmm.
differently because I was young and I didn't know anything, because I didn't. So you don't need to go that route because EXP has so much. So I really, really encourage you to, if you're brand new, work with your mentor, get in, either your upline. We have so many resources, and get on track of learning. The more you learn, the more you're a little more confident to go do. But you can't get stuck in learning. You've got to go into action. So, if you don't have a lot of money, you go social media route. You start to go to zoning meetings. You get to really get involved in your community. If you're already in church, or your kids have little league, whatever your social spheres are the cheapest way and fastest way to start building your reputation. You've got to let them know you're in real estate, and then work that until you are confident and have a good stream of business going. And then you can add another one. So if Instagram's your thing, you got to really specialize in Instagram. Once that's solid with your structure of posts and timing and all that, then you could go to TikTok or something else. I don't recommend doing everything all at once because it can be very overwhelming. I think you need to pick one fear, especially if you're already doing it. Like your kid goes swimming and you're at every meet, then, bring some, whatever you bring, oranges, cupcakes, whatever, and really get to know the parents and tap into your social sphere you already have.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. That's a lot of good information, Brenda. You covered a lot. Jerry, give us an idea of when you were getting started with your business, some of the fears that you had and how you overcame them to grow your business.
Okay. When you think about fear, to me, I often think, are we really afraid of failure, or are we afraid that someone will know that we failed? And being okay and realizing that there are points of failure for everyone in every situation throughout different walks of life is the first step, because we live in such a society that is everything's on social media. Everything is, we know so much about everyone, but failure happens on different levels for everyone every day. And I think the first thing is just to be okay with that, to get okay with, I'm going to fail. I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to move forward. Going back to the first days in real estate, I guess, my broker at that time, she would say to me, Jerian, it's okay. This transaction, there's nothing you could have done different. You can't save them all. Let it go. Move on to the next one. And because at first I felt as if one transaction didn't make it to the closing table, it was a direct reflection of me as a realtor. And that is just simply not the truth. And it's easy to get stuck in those moments, whether it's a transaction or a listing that you didn't get, or someone that you're trying to bring onto your team and it didn't work out, whatever that may be. It is a part of growth, and it is something that comes with life. So we have to be okay with those things. And we have to get into the point where it's accept the point that we can be uncomfortable, we can grow from that, and embrace that. And that is where the greatest growth happens in this life, not just with real estate, but with everything. Success is found outside of your comfort zone. Embrace that discomfort and push yourself to new heights. That would be my advice regarding any kind of fear, regardless of real estate or life.
Awesome. I totally agree with it. I have a little bit different spin, and I guess it's just the way that my brain works is that yes, people should be okay with the failure. You could look at it in that regard as like, I'm gonna fail and I just need to be okay with it. But for some reason, my brain just doesn't even register the option of the fact that I might fail. I just feel like whatever, let's just say you're setting your sights on becoming an icon this year and you're like, yep, I'm going to become an icon. And then I just start figuring out what the steps are to get there. And I don't really ever focus on the possibility of not getting there. So,
I do agree with that. I agree 100%. You have to stay focused and have that tunnel vision, but you
yeah,
can't let those, in the question was, if I understood correctly, what were your thoughts
yeah,
about failures? What were you most afraid of? And my
yeah,
response to that is, it wasn't that I thought that I was afraid of one specific thing, but I was afraid that people would look at me as a failure. And that was, I guess, the big answer, getting past the
mm,
fact that people may know that you did fail at something. Let it go, move on. Just because you're
yeah,
having a hard season or having a hard transaction doesn't mean it's a terrible career or a terrible life. Move
right.
on and embrace what you have learned from that to better the next transaction and to grow your team and to grow your career.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's brilliant. I had something that was right at the tip of my tongue and it's gone. So sorry, it's gone. But thank you for sharing. That was brilliant. Rebecca, tell us something in the beginnings of your career or throughout your career that you had some fears about and how you overcame the fear.
Number one, just Jerry, that was awesome and a great
Yeah.
reminder for all of us. Thank you. When I first got into real estate in Oregon, we'd only lived here for 8 months. And I knew only 5 people. And so I interviewed at all these different agencies and went with the agency that just seemed like the best fit and had the best training for me to learn. So number one, education, because everything about real estate changes every single day, and that you will never repeat that same transaction over and over and over again, because we're dealing with humans. And then number two, I joined a team to learn because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't know how to learn it without people guiding me. Um, and so I joined a team and was on a team for 6 months before I went solo. So if any of you are in a new area, you can do it. You just get out there and hold open houses, and you get to meet people really quickly that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you were on the team for 6 months and then you left, how do you feel like that went? And were you at EXP when that happened, or were you at a more traditional franchise type brokerage?
I was at KW and I loved it. I loved being on a team. It was two of us and a transaction coordinator. And um, I'm very thankful for that time. I learned a lot. I sat in on every single mastermind I could. When I left, it was uh, fairly good, not always great leaving a team, but we worked things out and made it where it worked.
Right.
The thing was, I was meeting a lot of investors at open houses, and they didn't want what the team was doing. They wanted something very specialized. And
Mm,
so that it was easier to focus on their needs because I knew I could meet our family's financial goals. So I had to look out for our family first.
right, right. Amazing. I love the idea of joining a team, and uh people, when they're deciding to either go solo or join a team, I think the first kind of questions that come out of their mouth are, well, what's the split? What am I giving up? And instead of thinking about the value of what you get from being on that team, it's almost like partnering with somebody on Shark Tank. You know, you go on there to be a contestant on Shark
It
Tank, and
is.
the first thing that they're asking you is like, well, how much, here's what I'll offer you, and here's how much of your company you're going to have to give up. And let's say that your gross sales are $500,000 this year, but you're getting 100% of that squeeze out of that 500,000 because you don't have any partners. But then one of the sharks go, hey, well, you know what? I want 30% of your company, but I'm going to drive you to 5 million in the next 5 years. And so, 70% of 5 million is $3.5 million.
Right.
So it's really more about the value that you get from the partnership of being on the team than it really is about how much split am I going to give up. And um, so it's a very good point that you made about being on the team and the value of being on the team.
Yeah, and that's also why we've structured our team here at EXP as a non-structured team so that we can do partnerships better because
Right.
what all of us have lived a lot of life in the last few years, and you need people around you to support you and keep you going, and to cheer you on. And sometimes, especially in real estate, we give 100% every single day to our clients, and sometimes we need somebody to back us up and hold our hand and help us walk through a season. So we've just structured our team a little differently here at EXP where we can be more collaborative and supportive because of we get that option here at EXP. Right. We lose you, Darren.
All right. It helps when I turn the mic back on. I'm getting a little feedback though. Are you guys getting that?
I'm getting feedback as well.
I don't know how to
Gone now.
It's gone now. You're right. Maybe when somebody went on mute, maybe when you muted yourself, maybe Rebecca or something, it stopped the. So, yeah, I was on mute there when I was talking about how right that was. And moving from another brokerage like Keller Williams, I was at Remax, and when we moved the team to EXP, it felt like I can invite people to jump on the team, new agents to jump on the team. And I told them, I was like, hey, listen, we're having you join the team because um, I want to help jumpstart your career. I want, even if you've been in real estate for a couple years, I can still help you elevate yourself, elevate your brand, get you more exposure on social media, all those things. And when it's time for you to raise your hand and say, you know, I'm ready to spread my wings, I don't, that's not going to be a big divorce where you leave the team and I'm going to be mad. I said no, because I'm going to take you to the next step too. Like, you leave the team, but I'm still going to be with you. I'm still going to support you. I'm going to help you grow your own team, because now, because of the EXP model, we're all growing together, versus like the only way that the team lead can make money in other models is if you stay on the team forever and you never leave. So um, very good points. So Vishal, could you tell us some of the fears that you had when you were getting started in your business and how you overcame them?
Yes, Darren, any new realtor, like I was having several fears when I started. Like first one, like everybody discussed, like that's very common, that failure. Like what if I cannot succeed? What if I fail? Second, like how I will manage my expenses, because this profession is purely depending upon like how many clients you will get, how many deals you will do. If you will do the deals, you will get money. If you don't, you won't get any. What if I'll do any big mistake and something happens, something happen and somebody come behind me? What if I cannot grow too much and I waste my 2 years, 3 years into that and I have to go back? So like most of these like were covered because I was working full time as a process engineering manager in a company. So I started as a part time. So I was not worrying about managing expenses or like a lack of growth. So I initially came into this business as a part time. Like, okay, I will do just part time. As I mentioned, I was investor since 2005. So I was thinking at least I will do my own transactions or my family's transactions or some of my close friends' transactions, and I will be happy. But it grew so rapidly and so fast. Like in 2.5 years, I did 156 transactions with my local brokerage. I was I ended up resigning in 1.5 year, and my plan was that I will resign after 3 years. So, and like I believe uh, like if first of all, like when you want to overcome your fear, you have to accept that there is a possibility of failure in the first place. Because if you accept the possibility of failure, then you will start working towards it. And I started working towards it. I have to like like I was so like scared that I was not able to I was not putting my advertisement on social media. What people will think, like this guy is putting ads and he's not doing any business. And but at some point, I think you have to take some bold steps. You have to take the initiative and you should learn how to sell yourself. And that is the first step and free step, to put yourself, start selling yourself at social media, start advertising your successes or what you can contribute and your successes, like how you got successful in this business being an investor. That thing helped me a lot because people have seen me growing by my own investments, like how I invested in different areas of real estate and how I got like so much profit out of that. Managing expenses, as I mentioned, like initially I was working full time as a manager, so I had no problem. So that's not a problem. But the biggest fear I was having, and which I had like 6 to 8 months in the starting of my career, was like, what if I make a stupid mistake or big mistake or in documentation? Because at the initial stages, like you don't have that much guidance about paperwork, especially when I was working with a local real estate brokerage, where my brokerage was part time as well. So,
Wow.
I was not getting much help. Like they were very helpful whenever they were having time. But let's say you have to make an offer and your broker is not available to help you. And in the brokerage, there were like 10 to 12 agents, and all of them were part time. So, and
Hmm.
like basically, when you need the help, you don't have the help. So, I structured myself that way. Like, I filled the forms, I kept the paper copies, where to take the signatures so that I don't miss any signatures on anywhere, like when to take the signatures. I made some notes. I had different clauses note down. I still have that collection of clauses, like different clauses in different scenarios, different situation. I was having everything in printed format. So I was using all those so that I was very, very careful. Like after like 1 year, 2 years, you can do that blindly. But in the initial phase, like that's how I overcome. The next fear was like that, what if I cannot, if I could not grow, then what? Then I explained to myself, hey, you are earning very good, you are working part-time, you are investing, you were an investor like from last 13 years, and now you are doing your own transaction. You were giving that to other realtors, now you are giving to yourself. If you do only your transaction, you can still earn a decent money every year from the real estate, plus family members, plus some close friends. But like overall, if you see in nutshell, like in 2.5 years, by God's grace, and by with the support of friends and family, like I am sitting right now close to 260 transactions in 4 years. So that was
Amazing.
awesome.
Amazing. Amazing. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vishal.
No problem.
Um, the thing that I'm thinking about is there's a lot of agents out there who are starting in the business as part-time. Um, but if you were to just, drop a full-time position that you might have with a company where you're getting a steady paycheck every month to do this full-time and just jump in and burn the boats, if you will. Is there anybody on the panel that actually had to do that and actually just cut the cord and make the jump and go through that? I mean, that's a lot of stress in that situation. But I know a lot of people that have done it. It's just you put a lot more pressure on yourself, obviously.
Are you asking if we quit our full-time careers and went into real estate? Is that the correct question?
Right, right,
Yes, I did that. I left my position that I had, went straight into real estate, and day one had a home under contract.
wow.
Yes.
I would say that's not normal, but
It is not normal.
it's
I,
not
I
normal.
tell everyone that I was very blessed, but I began working my sphere of influence before I took my test. So I started telling people that I'm closest to that I was getting ready to make a life change to better my life and my family's life. I started putting those fillers out there, and I actually would have conversations with people and say, "Will you support me? If you hear someone that's looking for a house, will you send them to me when I get my license?" And I started building those relationships before I ever got my license. And
Right.
in doing that, someone that I worked with told me, "Jerry Ann, my sister is going to be buying a house and I'm going to tell her to wait on you. She would love to work with you and I know you'll take good care of her," because I had already built a trust with my peer that I worked with. So the day that I got my license, the young lady, we had been looking at houses on Zillow together, and we went and looked at that house. And the next day, she put an offer on within 24 hours of my license number being back. And it was such a blessing. But it all comes back to the networking. And from there, they are well known in our community. They sent me other referrals, and it has just been a building process, one after the other, from that first transaction.
Right. Well, congratulations. That was a bold move and definitely looks to be paying off here. So, um, amazing. Let's move on to a little bit different question. And I'm going to just switch gears a little bit. Everyone on the stage here is an icon, and I want to find out what the number one contributing factor is that in your mind that you feel has helped you get to attain that level. And some of you have done it multiple times. Let's start with Brenda. What would you say is the number one thing that contributed to your success in becoming an icon?
So one thing to keep in mind is I've been doing this, for 24. Oh my God, I'm so old. 24 years. Crap. I almost said a bad word. Sorry. 24 years. So I'm in a much different place than a lot of you are. At this point, Keller Williams has saying something about, life by design. So that's kind of where I am in life. Like I have a life that it took me 23 years in real estate to design. So I work about 20 hours a week. I'm 85 to 90% a listing agent. I don't work with a lot of buyers unless they're past clients or friends. And then I pass the listings off as a refer or the buyers off from those listings as a referral. Um, my business now is probably the lines blur between farming of who's a repeat referral client versus who's in the farm. But I would say probably 60% of my business to 70% comes from my farm, but I've been doing it for 23 years. So I don't even have to mail a postcard. Everyone knows me. And then the rest is repeat referrals. So starting out to build your business, I think, I talked about this, I think last iConversations, where when I started, I think it was Brian Buffini who said, think of your business as a stool. And in order to be stable, it needs 3 legs. So you need 3 income streams, whether it's one is for sale by owners, one is repeat referral, one is your sphere, whatever they are. So you've got to build each leg to the point where you can leave it alone and then you move on to the 3. So I had 3 and I thought I was good to go. And then when I left Keller Williams, they wouldn't let me take my MAPS coach with me. So I ended up with Julie Harris of the Tim and Julie Harris people. And she was like, no, think of it as a wagon wheel with spokes. So now I was like, wait, I have 3 and she's looking for like 8. And I was like, oh my goodness. So it really is focus on one thing. And then my recommendation is do what you love. Where do you get your energy? Where do you come alive? What makes you happy? If it's walking your dog, then go, maybe you start up a dog walking club or you meet the people along your dog route. You always have extra biscuits. One of our events was we were going to do a dog day where we were going to have local sponsors and pay for it, have treats, gift bags, and maybe a small agility course, and then we were going to have contests for like longest tongue, most spot, whatever it was. So
Oh
if
my
that's your
gosh.
passion, then it becomes very easy to fold in business. For me, charity is always my number one. I will not cold call anyone for real estate to say, who do you know that's looking to buy in the next 30 to 60 days? I will call anyone and everyone to beg for anything if it's a charity that's close to my heart. So we do a lot of our events wrapped up where there's a charity involved. And I can call and say, hey, look, this is the program. We're helping kids in foster care who have absolutely nothing. We're looking for donations of backpacks, bedding. We have a list, or cash. And then we invited everyone in the farm to come help do a packing party. So if you can wrap it in a charity, if you're kind of shy about, I don't know how to feel about asking for business, you wrap it in a charity, and then you guys can reach out to me anytime and we can talk about this. Email me or text me, whatever. But I think starting where your passion lies is going to fold your real estate into your life to make it joyful. Like nobody wants to be in a career where it's a stressful slog of like, oh my God, I got to get up today and I got to do this, this, and this. We don't want that. We want you to be like excited and know that. And I got this from one of my favorite CRS coaches, which is Jackie Leavenworth. You have to go with the mindset. If you don't hire me, you are at risk. I'm here to help you, because if you choose anyone else, you're at risk for a bad transaction or not getting the house or not getting the most money if you're selling, because you've got that confidence of I'm here to help you. Nobody's going to care about you, your family, and your goals as much as me. So if you can bring that passion into your work, I think it becomes more fun, joyful, and that's the name of the game. We're building relationships that hopefully last for life. And that's kind of a mindset thing that you've got to go in with.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brenda. That was a lot of information in what you just said. So, geez, I forgot what my question. I'm taking so many notes here, Brenda. Jerry, what would you say contributed to, what's the number one thing that you feel contributed to you becoming an icon?
With EXP, reaching an icon level was the first goal that I had. And I had that coming out of the past 3 years. If I had been with EXP, I would have iconed the 3 years prior. So with my brokerage that I was with, the boutique brokerage, I got the production award, but obviously that is different than an icon level with EXP, because we're not getting those returns back to us with stock and etc. But my goal was first year, I'm going to icon. I'm not going to go with a different company and not have the same amount of production. So for me, reaching that goal was primary, and it was very important to me. The problems or that I had with that was EXP as a whole to me was overwhelming with technology. Now, let me say, I love it and I embrace every bit of it, but there was a learning curve for me because that's something that we did not have at my previous brokerage. So that's why I was determined not to lose on production in trying to gain all the technology because I wanted the income and trying to keep that on task and keep us where we wanted to be with production. I fell back to the what I call and what my previous broker called the card carrying fans. So when I came on to EXP, I sent a letter out to people and once again went back to where I started and said, this is going to be my new journey and I'm moving to a different company. This is why I have done this. And I explained myself to them with complete transparency and hoping that they would understand that not that my first brokerage or there was anything wrong with it, but I'm looking for the future for myself, for my family, and what EXP can do for me and how I can grow and be a better agent. So by connecting with them and getting back in there, getting this conversation started, it's like I had this little fan club that was already over here rooting for me. And they said, you know, we will support you. And within months, within the first 3 months, I had like 5 people that said, my neighbor over here is going to sell their house, Jerry Ann. Go call them, list that. We've got you. I've already told them about you. So just going back to those people that are quote unquote your card carrying fans, they are going to be the person that jumps in and gives your card to someone. They're going to be a mouth and a sound for you when you can't be present in rooms. They're going to have your back. That to me is the first step to building your own real estate career and to grow beyond what you can do with these leads that are coming through certain systems or buying these leads. You may get a win on those things. And I think it's wonderful if you have. I personally have not. I've built from the ground up with people that love me, with people that have my back, and with people that will go to bats and get me people, referrals. So my answer would be, in summary, the card carrying fans. That's where it's at. Grow those people, build those relationships.
Exactly. Yeah, that's super powerful. Just building advocates, people that are gonna, every time real estate comes up, your name is gonna be the one that they put out over and over and over. And you're just saying, take care of those people with everything you got and make sure that you show them the love for the referrals that they're giving you and build more advocates.
That's correct. To me, those people, that's your bread and butter. Those are the people that's going to, when the interest rates are up, when people aren't wanting to list, that's the people that's going to keep you in business and set you apart. It's not these one-time people or lead from Zillow that's going to do that. It's the people that are in it with you, that have your back when you can't be there. You can only be so many places at once. You can only have so many conversations. But if you've got people like that on your team, you're going to grow your business.
Right. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Jerry Ann. Rebecca, can you help us understand what you feel the number one thing that helped you get to become an icon?
Sheer determination.
That's part of it.
Yep, sheer will. Icons are one of the reasons we came over to EXP was the being able to own stock in a company. So it was one of our main driving forces. Our first year, just because I didn't know how to track it and it was a really hard year just for our family, we missed it by 2 deals. So figuring that out and figuring out how to track it and plan out my year really carefully, our year really carefully, and knowing how, looking at the market and knowing when things ebb and flow. And I try and plan out my entire year at the beginning of the year because I'm in contact with my past clients. And I know what they want to do. So I track that and then I see where I need to add in other deals, and whether it's an open house or some crazy lead from realtor.com, which does take 6 months to get them to close, we add in that way. So it's sheer will and determination and knowing your numbers and knowing how to plan it out. And it was one of the big reasons we came over.
The icon award itself.
Yeah, well, no, the stock bonuses that
But
come
you're right,
along with hitting icon.
I know there's something about it. It's not that the $16,000 is going to change your life.
No, I, it's not going to change your life, but it's going to give you a little boost at the end of the day.
Right. It's a goal. I can relate to you when you said that you wrote this thing down on your board, you had it in front of your face, and we did too. It was every day I stared at it and I was like, I need this many more transactions and I need this. And if I, I'm looking at the calendar and I'm trying to figure out how to squeeze them all in. And there was no way, it was like sheer determination that we were not going to miss this. And what can we possibly do? What can we, we're going to keep pivoting. We're going to keep shooting, trying different things, and we're not going to miss it. And that's kind of how we hit the first year too, because it was tough. And I'm sure there's a lot. So you have to set the goal though that you're going to get it, and you have to look at it every day, and you have to be willing to work towards it.
And you have to go back and realize at the end of the month or end of every week, take stock of what worked and what didn't work to get you to those goals and see where you need to tweak things.
Oh yeah. Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Vishal, tell us one thing that you feel is a major contributing factor to how you got to become an icon.
Recognition, that's what I was looking for, because as I mentioned, I was doing lots of transactions in my previous brokerage, which was a local brokerage, but there was no such program. There was no such thing for advertising, okay, this agent is doing this much. You just keep getting your commission and that's it, that's done. But I was seeing people who are getting platinum awards, diamond award, gold awards or president's awards. And so when I heard a first thing about EXP, and I heard the benefits of icon agents and other awards, I was attracted to it. It gives me recognition. Now I'm proudly advertising 2 times icon agent. So it's my second year in EXP. I'm 2-time icon agent. So that was the purpose that I joined. Number one, it gives me motivation. Not only me, it gives motivation to whole my team. I'm preparing some of my team member, and they will be upcoming icon agent, and some of them will be this year icon agent. So they look at me, they want to come up to me, and they want to be an icon agent. So not only me, it's my team who's getting motivated because of that, and that gives them motivation to do more transactions, to generate more revenue, to put more hard work into the business so that they can win the icon agent as well. So I can say the main motivation was recognition, and not only for myself, but for my team as well. So right now, as whole team is getting motivated to work towards icon status, because I'm getting lots of questions almost every team meeting, how this works, how to attain that, what are the requirements, and here we are. And I can tell you, there will be 2 more icon agents this year from Kitchener, from my team. That's what I'm working on.
Amazing. How do you get the team members to buy in? I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. When they know that you're the one that's going to mostly benefit from getting the Icon Award. I understand that they're interested in selling more homes, and that benefits them financially and everything. What's the motivation for them to feel like it's important for you to get the Icon Award?
It's not motivation is not that I get the icon award. The motivation is that they should come up and they should get the icon award as well. And as I mentioned, there are 2 new real estate agents. One agent, he joined in January, and he's doing such great efforts, and he's working with such motivation. He has done 40 transactions from in last 7 months, and he's very close to attain the icon agent. The other agent, he has done 28 big transactions. He's very close to get the icon agent, and they are the one who keep asking me how this program works, how far we are, and I'm keep guiding them like how to attain that. And that's what I'm saying, like this is not only motivating me, this is motivating the whole team that they have to attain the icon status. And I wish, like I'm working on that whole my team one day, like should be at least the present team should be icon agent once.
Mm, absolutely. Amazing. Well, congrats on helping other people attain the Icon Award too. And that's what it's all about, especially here
Yeah.
at EXP. It's like, how do we help others get what they want so we can get what we want? Um, I want to shift gears a little bit. We've got 5 minutes left, I believe. And I know that most of the people here in our audience are newer agents. And I do want to talk about agent attraction a little bit because it is such a powerful thing and it's available to us at EXP. And I want to try to help them believe that it's not something that they have to wait till I get to this level, or I'm going to start doing that when this happens. Or what's your advice to them as to how they could, without being super salesy or feeling like they're out recruiting or whatever, how could they win and help other agents see the opportunity and potentially sponsor some agents without having to become a recruiter or feel like they're not ready or all of those things? Does anybody, let's start with Brenda. Do you have a quick tip for
Sure.
newer agents to potentially do that?
Okay, so many of you in the audience may relate, but this is not my thing. I don't do this. I'm not a recruiter. Keller Williams is such a focus, and I was so turned off that I don't do this. But I, two people, actually three, followed me. When I announced I was going, people were reaching out. Where are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I saw a video. I can't unsee it. And then they were like, well, send me the video. So I had to go to my upline and be like, hey, they need a video, send it out. And one of my friends was like, I'm coming with you. And I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know how to bring someone. So I'm probably in your shoes. So I don't actively recruit like that. But the people I brought do. And so there's probably 40 people under me, and I had two follow. I can't even say I recruited them. So my suggestion to you is, I don't know if whatever area you're in, you have these things called brokers opens, which we have, which are Tuesdays, usually 11 to 1. And it's basically like an open house for brokers only or agents. So if they don't have that, I would go to open houses, any kind of networking event with other agents. If there's local education from your local board, go to places where you're going to run into a ton of realtors. Even if you're new to real estate and you don't know a lot, go to these places, create those connections, and they happen organically. When you do a transaction with another agent that you actually like, there's some that I would think, no way in heck am I ever working with you again. I don't talk to them. But, during a transaction, even if it doesn't end up, you write an offer, there's 10 offers, you don't get chosen. You call or email and just say, thank you for considering us. Thank you for your time. It's lovely working with you. I'm sorry we didn't get to do the transaction. But as you build those relationships, you can slide it into conversation in a non-salesy way. But it's just like building a real estate business. You have to be in front of people. You're not going to do all this. Most of us aren't, from social media behind a computer. You've got to get out and you've got to build these relationships in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of gives us a reason to build these relationships, even though we should, just as real estate agents, even if you're not recruiting, you should be building the relationships anyways. So it's an added incentive for us to build the relationships and say, like, we should be going to these networking events, we should be going to open houses, broker opens. Um, I even go to like these little, pay $50 and go to a Glover U 1 day event. It's $50 and you show up. Guess what? There's a room of 200 agents sitting in that room that I can just walk around. I may not even, initially I wasn't going to actually learn anything at the Glover U event. I was just going there to network with the other agents. But then I ended up learning some stuff too. So it really, it really works itself out. But those are some really great things, Brenda. And I think that's something that people can put to work today. So, Jerry Ann, can you add some things to that for newer agents who are looking to capitalize on bringing agents over, but don't necessarily feel like they're ready?
Yes. My comment regarding being ready is the moment that you became part of EXP, you were ready. And I say that, but for one reason. You are everything that you came to EXP for is now offered to those people that you can connect with. You don't have to have the skills down correctly. You don't have to have the correct words. You don't have to have all of the details, or I'm going to unlock this next level. You don't have to understand all of that. What you have to know is why you came to EXP. And that transparency is what's going to bring people to EXP with you. There is a great amount of respect for people that can just say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And then right there, pick up the phone in their presence, make a phone call to whomever it may be in your upline, Don Yoakum, whoever it may be, and say, Don, help me understand this. I have someone right here with me. Get them on the phone with someone that does this every day, that understands and has built their downline, and they understand how to help you build yours. But you came to EXP for a reason, and if you tell them your reasons, and if you're honest and transparent about the things that you do not understand yet, but you connect them with people that do have that knowledge, that's how you're going to start. If you came, they can come here also, and they are looking for a lot of the same things you were looking for when you made that decision. So you were ready the day you became part of EXP.
Awesome. I wholeheartedly agree. And I knew that message. I'm trying to get it out to the audience too. And I 100% agree with you. So Rebecca, quickly, what would you say is a quick tip for people to get started with attraction, even though they don't feel like they're ready?
So I just like salesy things. The recruiting at my old agency really put me off of it also. So I always say lead with my heart. Talk about what you love, and people are going to be drawn to that.
Right. And they can't disagree with it either. If you're just saying, hey, this is why I joined, it's like you're telling all about the good things without trying to push it on them or convince them that that's why they should join. But it kind of is.
Correct. And also, like,
yeah.
our life has changed being at EXP and the support we have at EXP. Like, people are noticing 2 years in, oh, you all seem very different. What is different about your world? And when you are in a place that encourages you and uplifts you and helps you grow, that change radiates out.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Vishal, quickly, I think we're out of time, but I'd like to get your input on this too before we go.
For new agent, like I always say, you cannot be a good recruiter if you are not a good producer. So I always push them. I give them the strategies, give them the tactics, like how they can be good producers. I give them some tips, like how they can start. So once they are good producer and their advertisements are everywhere on social media, people know that they are good producers. People will definitely come by themselves and they will ask like how you become so successful. At that time, they can show what EXP has to offer and what internal sources they have used from the EXP to become successful. And then it's very easy to recruit people to get them benefited from EXP resources. So like same thing, like I was having only 3 team members and I got like 6,100 in revenue share in 6 months. And then I hit my icon agent. I had my cultural commitments completed, and I had those shares in ShareWorks. Plus, I had some revenue shares. Whenever somebody was coming for recruitment, I was sharing with them all the resources of EXP, plus how much revenue share I'm getting, plus how much stocks I have got in ShareWorks.
Right.
3 stocks I have got, and that motivated everybody. Like, okay, if he can do it, we can do it as well. And the same thing I'm telling to the new agents, that whenever they come, they should try to become good producer. Once they're good
Right.
producer, they can be enhancer and they can motivate people to join EXP by sharing with them like what strategies or what resources of EXP they have used to come to this level.
Amazing. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you. Well, we're over by 4 minutes here. I'm very sorry about that, but I think that was just really some good information for everybody. I hope you found that useful, and I certainly did. I appreciate every one of you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next call, okay?
Darren,
Thank you,
thanks so
Darren.
much. You were great.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. We'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining today. This was an amazing show. All of you in the audience, come back every Friday. We're here in the auditorium. And if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. You all have a great Friday.